Brooks Koepka is currently leading 12 under par, which is a problem for the PGA, since Koepka is now a LIV golfer. In case you forgot, the PGA had a complete and utter meltdown when that rival professional league, LIV, announced its launch with larger payouts and guaranteed money, thus an exodus of top-tier PGA players like Koepka. With us now, Jerry Foltz, LIV Golf analyst, formerly with the Golf Channel. If a LIV player wins at the Masters, it totally changes, right, the conversation around LIV Golf, around the controversy, around the tour.
It changes it to an extent, Leland. It'll quiet a lot of the critics, because there has been a decidedly one-sided narrative that's been propagated by the powers that be at the monopoly that is the PGA Tour, and everybody who's beholden to them within the golf industry has fallen in tow with that. And so that's a lot of the one-sided narrative that the fans hear. Now, the fans who have grown to love LIV and have supported it have paid no attention to it. But by and large, those are the fans who aren't in the kind of fabric of the core golf audience or the avid golf audience. I don't know if it changes the conversation. I know that the powers that be are going to fight LIV every step of the way because they feel threatened by LIV, which I wish they weren't. It was never intended to be that way. But LIV has made a certain impact in the golf industry, on the golf landscape, that is going to remain there for a long, long time.
All right, well, then we have something in common. People aren't threatened by my golf game, but they're threatened by NewsNation for some of the very same reasons of shaking things up. But Jim Nantz said it best, a tradition unlike any other. The Masters is all about tradition and reverence for the sport and reverence for the patrons. I could go on. But they've embraced the LIV players, allowed them to play. There hasn't been any of the exclusions that was feared by Augusta National. What do you make of that?
The four most important tournaments of the year are all conducted by four different organizations who are all kind of the caretakers of the game, if you will. They're not the PGA Tour. They're the USGA, the R&A, the PGA of America, and the Masters Committee. None of the heads of those organizations were going to ever hold a major championship under their watch that would need an asterisk in the history books, meaning they were not going to squeeze out the LIV players and not have the best players in the world. All four majors have fallen in tow with their current criteria, but with the PGA Tour having a stronghold on the OWGR and using that as a way to try and squeeze out LIV players through time, I think each and every one of the majors, the Masters included, through little subtleties in what I heard from Fred Ridley in his address to the press on Wednesday, they're leaving the doorway open to include a different way for them to come about with their rankings and invitations to qualify for the various four majors. And that will happen in time, without question. Now, a good showing by LIV this week at the Masters would certainly expedite it. But again, I don't think that's necessary.
Yeah, there's the world golf rankings that typically are used for entry into so many of these tournaments. Then, since LIV golf tournaments don't count yet in that, you now have this sort of scuttlebutt. I guess when I think about it, though, the green jacket comparison, those on the course today at Augusta, PGA Tour has 13, LIV has 9. There's no way to make the case that you don't have some phenomenal world-class golfers at LIV. But I go back to this question about Augusta. I think it's fascinating because you talk about the powers that be. There's nothing more old world than the powers that be in American business and politics than Augusta National. And still, they weren't swayed by the very, very powerful lobbying by the PGA, some subtle, some not so subtle, about why LIV was bad. I'm wondering what you make of the fact that Augusta National's been so accepting.
Well, Fred Ridley, the chairman of Augusta National, is a traditionalist to his very core, as are most of the members, everybody that makes up the Masters Committee. So for them to even accept the LIV players into the field was a huge step, and all the other majors fell in line with them after that. I believe it was actually the R&A for the what we call the British Open, the Open Championship, that were first to say so. But we expected all four of them to fall in line with that. I don't know if the PGA of America has made their statement yet, but they will do the same. So I don't think Fred Ridley is a fan of LIV Golf, but what he is a fan of is contesting the best tournament they can each and every year at Augusta National. That's what we have fallen in love with. Keep in mind, it's the youngest of the four majors, but it's the one that as Americans, we revere the most from a presentation standpoint.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.